Welcome to this explosive breakdown of one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history, the day Steve Harvey was unceremoniously kicked off The View following a viral clash with the one and only Joy Behar. Imagine the set of The View, that iconic round table where hot topics sizzle like bacon on a Sunday morning, buzzing with anticipation as Steve Harvey, the king of comedy and host of his wildly successful talk show, strolls in with his signature grin, ready to promote his latest book on relationships and life jumps. The audience is electric, cheering as Whoopi Goldberg kicks things off with her warm introduction, praising Steve's journey from stand-up comedian to media mogul, from Family Feud reviver to motivational speaker who's touched millions with his no-nonsense advice on love, family, and success. Joy Behar, ever the sharp-tongued firecracker with decades under her belt as a co-host, sits there with her trademark smirk, her eyes twinkling with that mix of curiosity and mischief that has made her a legend. The panel includes Sunny Hostin, ready with her legal insights, Sarah Haynes with her relatable mom vibes, and Alyssa Farah Griffin bringing the conservative perspective, all set against the backdrop of New York City's skyline peeking through the studio windows. Steve settles into his guest chair, cracking a joke about how he's finally made it to the big leagues of gabfests, and the laughter ripples through the crowd like a wave at a baseball game. But beneath the surface, there's an undercurrent of tension as Steve's known for his bold, sometimes controversial takes on traditional values, while Joy's liberal wit often slices through pretense like a hot knife through butter. As the segment begins, Whoopi tosses the first softball. "Steve, your book's all about jumping into life's big leaps. Tell us about that one leap that changed everything for you." Steve leans in, his voice booming with that southern charm, recounting his rags to riches story, from sleeping in his car to building an empire, emphasizing faith, perseverance, and the power of positive thinking. The women nod appreciatively, with Sarah chiming in about her own career pivots, creating a cozy vibe that feels like chatting with old friends over coffee. Yet, Joy's fingers tap the table lightly, her mind already whirring toward the provocative angle she's famous for. She waits for just the right moment, that pregnant pause after Steve wraps his heartfelt tale, before leaning forward with a gleam in her eye. "Steve, that's inspiring. Really, but let's get real. You've built this empire on old-school relationship advice, like men should lead and women should follow. In 2025, with all the progress we've made on gender equality, isn't that a bit outdated? Like, are you telling single ladies out there to just wait for a knight in shining armor while the world's burning around them?" The studio falls into a hush, the audience murmuring as Steve's smile falters for a split second, his eyes narrowing just enough to hint at the storm brewing. He chuckles, but it's laced with edge, responding with his classic blend of humor and conviction. "Joy, darlin', I'm not saying women can't lead. They can and they do, better than us sometimes. But there's wisdom in roles, in balance. My advice isn't chains, it's freedom from chasing fool's gold." The exchange starts light, the panel jumping in with laughs and agreements, but Joy presses on, her voice rising like a crescendo in an opera, challenging him on specifics from his book, quoting lines about submission and marriage that she calls straight out of the 1950s playbook. Steve fires back, defending his views with anecdotes from his own life, his marriage to Marjorie, how faith guides their dynamic, and how modern feminism sometimes confuses liberation with isolation. The back and forth builds, words flying like sparks from a flint. The audience splits between gasps and applause, phones already out capturing every zinger. Sunny tries to mediate with a question on cultural shifts, but Joy waves it off, doubling down. "Come on, Steve, you're a smart guy, admit it. Your advice keeps women small." That's when Steve's patience snaps, his voice dropping an octave as he retorts, "Joy, with all due respect, you've been yapping about this stuff for years, but have you ever tried living it? Your show's full of opinions, but where's the real wisdom?" The studio erupts, Whoopi calling for calm, but it's too late. The viral moment is born, cameras zooming in on Joy's flushed face and Steve's steely gaze. As the commercial break looms, producers whisper frantically in headsets, sensing the ratings gold but also the potential fallout. Little do they know, this clash will explode across social media. Hashtags trending from TikTok to Twitter, with clips racking up millions of views in hours. Steve stands to shake hands, but Joy remains seated, arms crossed, muttering something under her breath that the hot mic catches. This isn't over, and indeed, it wasn't. As the show resumes post-break, the tension lingers like smoke after a fire, every laugh forced, every question loaded. Steve, ever the professional, steers back to safer waters, plugging his book with charisma intact. But the damage is Donia the elephant, and the room stomps louder with each passing minute. Behind the scenes, ABC execs huddle, weighing the buzz against the backlash, while fans flood comment sections with divided loyalties. Team Steve for his unapologetic authenticity, Team Joy for her fearless callouts. This wasn't just a guest spot gone awry, it was a cultural collision, pitting traditional values against progressive fire, all under the glare of daytime TV's brightest lights. And as the hour wraps, with Steve waving goodbye to thunderous applause mixed with boos, no one could predict the kicker waiting just off stage, the decision that would send shockwaves through Hollywood. Fast forward through the whirlwind of post-show chaos, where social media ignites like dry tinder under a match of clips of the Steve Joy showdown dissected frame by frame on every platform imaginable. From Instagram Reels breaking down body language to YouTube reaction videos racking up subscriber spikes overnight, the internet, that vast echo chamber of opinions, splits down the middle. Conservative outlets hail Steve as a beacon of truth-telling, praising his defense of family structures in an era of fleeting hookups and identity crises, while liberal pundits crown Joy the victor, lauding her for exposing what they dub toxic masculinity masquerading as wisdom. Tweets pour in by the thousands, with #Steve vs Joy trending worldwide, memes morphing Steve's furrowed brow into a lion's roar and Joy's smirk into a superhero cape. Mainstream media jumps aboard the bandwagon, CNN panels debating the merits of his book versus her critique, Fox News spinning it as another attack on black excellence by coastal elites, and even late-night hosts like Jimmy Fallon slipping in satirical sketches that poke fun at both sides without picking a winner. Back on The View set the next morning, the co-hosts circle the wagons around Joy, Whoopi opening hot topics with a nod to the lively discussion, her tone diplomatic as always, while Sunny dives into stats on evolving gender roles to back her up, and Alyssa offers a balanced take that only fuels more online fire. Joy, sipping her coffee with feigned nonchalance, quips, "Hey, I just asked the questions America was thinking of. Steve's a big boy, he can handle it." But off air, the whispers grow, producers fielding calls from Steve's team, demanding an apology or at least airtime for rebuttal, citing the clip's misrepresentation of his nuanced views. Steve, meanwhile, retreats to his Atlanta studio, where his own show hums along with guest spots filled by supportive celebs like Tyler Perry, who drops by to commend his brother's stand. In interviews with TMZ and People, Steve keeps it classy, saying, "Joy's passionate. I respect that. A difference of opinion makes the world turn, right? But let's not twist words into weapons." Yet, the viral velocity accelerates, with influencers on both sides amplifying the divide. Podcasters inviting Joy for tell-alls, where she recounts the exchange with theatrical flair, imitating Steve's drawl to comedic effect, drawing laughs from her audience but ire from his. The backlash swells. Petitions circulate on change.org for ABC to apologize to Steve, garnering signatures from faith-based groups who see his ousting as cultural censorship, while feminist TikTokers create duet videos syncing Joy's zingers to empowering anthems like Beyonce tilde copyright S Run the World. Girls. Ratings for The View spike 30%, a boon for advertisers, but at what cost? Internal memos leak, revealing execs torn between the drama's draw and the risk of alienating core viewers. Steve's book sales, ironically, skyrocket, jumping to #1 on Amazon's self-help charts, with fans buying copies just to see what the fuss is about. He capitalizes with a live Facebook Q&A, fielding questions from loyalists who share personal stories of how his advice saved their marriages, turning the controversy into a teachable moment on resilience. Joy, undeterred, guests on late-night circuits, sparring good-naturedly with hosts who prod for more dirt, her anecdotes laced with self-deprecating humor about her own romantic missteps before finding love with Steve. It's no relation to our Steve. But the name coincidence sparks a fresh wave of jokes. As days blur into a week, the story mutates. Tabloids speculate on off-camera insults, anonymous sources claim Joy stormed off mid-break, and deepfake videos circulate showing exaggerated versions of the fight, complete with cartoonish sound effects. Celebrities weigh in. Oprah tweets a vague call for compassionate dialogue, while Whoopi, in a solo op-ed for the New York Times, reflects on the perils of live TV's unscripted edge, reminding readers that behind every clash are humans with histories worth honoring. The cultural ripple effects deepen, sparking broader conversations in schools and workplaces about respectful disagreement, with educators using the clip as a case study in media literacy. Steve, ever the strategist, announces a podcast series dissecting the incident, promising unfiltered truths and guest experts on communication. Joy counters with a charity drive tied to women's empowerment, donating book proceeds to relevant causes, framing her stance as activism over animosity. Yet, amid the noise, cracks show in the facade. Steve's team hints at legal consultations over defamation, while Joy's camp brushes it off as free publicity. The internet's memory is long but fickle, and as new scandals eclipse the spotlight, like a politician's gaffe or a pop star's breakup, the momentum shifts, but not before cementing this as a defining moment in talk show lore. Fans dissect every angle, from Steve's tailored suit symbolizing polished strength to Joy's bold red blouse invoking fiery rebellion, turning fashion into fodder for think pieces in Vogue and Esquire. Behind closed doors, ABC brass convene emergency meetings, graphs projecting viewer retention versus sponsor pullouts, weighing if the juice is worth the squeeze. Steve, sensing the pivot, reaches out privately through mutual friends, suggesting a follow-up segment for reconciliation, but Joy's response is tepid, her team citing scheduling conflicts. The viral vortex spins on, sucking in bystanders like producers turned accidental stars via leaked audio, and even the audience member whose shocked gasp became a ringtone hit. In this digital coliseum, gladiators Steve and Joy battle not with swords but words, each thrust amplified to infinity, reminding us that in 2025's hyper-connected world, one heated exchange can topple thrones or build empires from the rubble. Deep into the fray, with the story refusing to fade despite competing headlines, ABC drops the hammer in a move that stuns the industry. Steve Harvey is officially kicked off The View, banned from future appearances following what insiders call an unresolvable breach of decorum. The announcement comes via a terse press release late Friday night, cloaked in corporate euphemisms about maintaining the respectful environment and prioritizing productive discourse, but the subtext screams volume. Joy's influence as a founding co-host carries weight, her tenure a shield against cancellation in an era of fragile egos. The news breaks on Deadline Hollywood, igniting a firestorm that makes the original clash look like a sparkler next to a bonfire. Steve, vacationing in the Bahamas with family to escape the frenzy, gets the call mid-sunset cocktail, his face a mask of disbelief as Marjorie rubs his shoulder, whispering encouragements drawn straight from his own books. He issues a statement on Instagram, measured yet pointed, disappointed but not defeated. The View was meant to be a table for all voices. I guess mine was too loud for some tastes. Grateful for the fans who know my heart. The post garners 2 million likes and hours, comments flooding with support from everyday folks who've found solace in his words during tough times, sharing testimonials that read like love letters to his resilience. Joy, caught off guard by the swift execution, addresses it on Monday's show, her tone a blend of defiance and faux surprise. Look, Steve's talented, no doubt, but when you come on a show like this, you gotta expect the heat. If he can't take the kitchen, maybe stick to Feud. The audience cheers, but the split is palpably half roaring approval, the other half sitting stone-faced, a microcosm of America's divide. Whoopi, the steady hand at the helm, steers this segment toward unity, inviting a relationship expert to unpack the drama through a therapeutic lens, emphasizing how such conflicts mirror national tensions on gender and power. Behind the velvet curtain, the fallout festers. Steve's agent fields offers from rival networks like CBS and NBC, whispers of a guest hosting gig on The Talk or even his own ABC specials in jeopardy. Joy's allies rally, penning op-eds in The Guardian framing the ban as a stand against regressive rhetoric, while detractors on Breitbart decry it as liberal McCarthyism. Boycotts called against View sponsors like Procter & Gamble. The economic ripples hit hard if Steve's tour dates sell out faster, merch flying off virtual shelves, but endorsement deals waver, brands hedging bets and the polarization. Social media morphs into a battlefield, with parody accounts sprouting like weeds, had kicked off View tweeting satirical bans of other celebs, and AI-generated deepfakes showing Steve storming back for revenge rounds. Late-night TV milks it dry. Colbert does a desk segment with puppet versions clashing hilariously, while Gutfeld skewers Joy as the queen of cancel culture. In Hollywood's inner circles, agents buzz at power lunches, debating if this elevates Steve as a martyr or tarnishes Joy as a bully, with casting directors noting the chill on cross-ideological bookings. Steve pivots masterfully, launching a jump back challenge on TikTok, encouraging followers to share their comeback stories, turning pain into purpose and racking up billions of views. Joy, not one to back down, announces a book club tie-in with feminist authors, positioning her side as the progressive vanguard. The band's mechanics unfold in leaked emails, producers citing post-show communications where Steve allegedly called Joy's comments disrespectful to my culture, escalating what was verbal sparring into a formal grievance. ABC's damage control includes diversity training mandates for staff and a primetime special on civil discourse, but skeptics smell PR polish over substance. Fans organize watch parties for Steve's reruns, chanting his catchphrases like mantras, while Joy's loyalists flood the View's feedback line with affirmations. The story seeps into pop culture, referenced in rap lyrics and sitcom cold opens, a shorthand for when icons collide. Steve reflects in a Vogue interview, vulnerability peeking through his bravado. It hurt, yeah, felt like family turning on you, but growth comes from the gut punches. Joy, in a parallel piece for Vanity Fair, owns her edge. I didn't start the fire, but I'll fan the flames if it means speaking truth. As weeks pass, the intensity ebbs, but Skarslingra invites dry up for both, a cautionary tale for guests eyeing that round table. Yet, in quiet moments, mutual respect flickers. A backchannel apology floats, declined for now, but hinting at future detente. This kickoff isn't an end but a chapter close, underscoring TV's power to provoke, unite, and divide in equal measure, leaving us all pondering, in the quest for ratings and rightness, who really wins? With the dust settling on Steve's View exile, the narrative evolves into a phoenix-like resurgence, where the comedian-turned-orator channels the slight into fuel for a multimedia empire expansion that leaves pundits slack-jawed. Back in his Atlanta war room, surrounded by stacks of scripts and motivational posters quoting his own quips, Steve convenes a brain trust of publicists, writers, and his unflappable wife Marjorie to map the countermove. Out comes Harvey's Hot Seat, a new podcast dropping bi-weekly, raw and unfiltered, kicking off with an hour-long dissection of The Clash, guesting firebrands like Kevin Hart for laughs and Dr. Phil for gravitas, pulling in 5 million downloads on launch day alone. Listeners devour episodes on commutes and gym sessions, tuning in for Steve's blend of humor, heartache, and hard-won hacks. Episodes themed around bouncing back from bands resonating like therapy on steroids. Simultaneously, he greenlights a docuseries for Netflix, Leap of Faith, The Steve Harvey Story, weaving the View fiasco into his arc as a testament to perseverance. Archival footage of his homeless days juxtaposed with red carpet triumphs, narrated with that velvet voice that hooks you from Hello. Critics rave in Variety, calling it a masterclass in turning lemons into lemonade empires, while streaming numbers shatter records for biographical fare. Joy, watching from her Manhattan perch, feels the competitive sting but spins it into her wheelhouse, a stand-up special for HBO, Joy Unfiltered, clashing with kings, filmed live at the Beacon Theater, roasting Steve alongside tales from her comedy vaults, Tickets scalping for triple face value. A's fans flock to see the unbowed original. Her set crackles with one-liner. Steve says jump, I say how high? Nah, I'll take the elevator, earning standing ovations and Emmys buzz, proving age and attitude are no barriers to biting wit. The View itself adapts, introducing Clash Corner, a segment inviting controversial figures for moderated debates. First with a politician on climate, drawing Whoopi's steady facilitation and record ratings, subtly nodding to the Harvey spark without naming it. Crossovers emerge unexpectedly. Steve guests on The Breakfast Club, dishing on the drama with Charlamagne's probing style, dropping gems on forgiveness that go mega viral, while Joy pops up on The Daily Show, trading barbs with Trevor Noah's successor in a segment that humanizes her fire. Philanthropy bridges the gap as Steve's foundation hosts empowerment summits for young men on leadership, inspired by the debate, drawing thousands, and Joy matches with women's leadership retreats, her events featuring panels on navigating male-dominated spaces, both initiatives quietly cross-promoting via social shoutouts. Media evolves too, with The New Yorker profiling the duo in a dual piece, Titans of Talk, when comedy meets conviction, tracing parallels in their immigrant-rooted hustle. Steve's Cleveland steel town grit mirroring Joy's Brooklyn Jewish tenacity of finding common ground in their unyielding quests for authenticity. Awards season amplifies the echo. Steve nabs a People's Choice for Inspirational Icon, dedicating it to those who've felt silenced. Eyes misty as the crowd roars. Joy sweeps comedy knots, toasting to the women who speak up, even when it's messy. Behind scenes, reconciliation simmers. A joint charity gala invite floats, both receiving yes, the air thick with potential for onstage magic or mayhem. Fans fuel the fantasy, fanfic forums buzzing with imagined team-ups, from a rom-com script to a debate leak. Broader impacts ripple. Universities add modules on the incident to comms courses, dissecting viral volatility, while brands court both for campaigns. Steve for menswear evoking strength, Joy for assertiveness apps, personal growth shines through. Steve journals more, therapy sessions unpacking the ego bruise, emerging softer yet steelier. Joy mentors young comics, imparting pick your battles, but fight the good ones. The saga's silver lining gleams in unity moments, like a viral video of kids reenacting the Clash as a lesson in dialogue, hearts melting millions. As 2025 marches on, the kickoff fades to folklore, a footnote in bios but a fulcrum for futures, proving that from controversies coals can forge careers anew, relationships reframed, and a reminder that in entertainment's arena, the real show is the soul laid bare.